Hello everyone, and now welcome to game number 2 in a series, or excuse me, game number 3 in this best of 3 series. ReprisaL and Yumiko, we are all tied up at 1 game apiece, as we are now looking at Yumiko spawning as the red human player on the bottom right hand side of Terranistan. ReprisaL spawning as the blue human on the top left. Now, ReprisaL did some trickery plays with that Blood Mage as a second hero, and really able to get a lot more mileage than I originally thought. Being able to shut down that Mountain King, prevent that mana, it almost felt like the Mountain King never bothered to Stormbolt the Blood Mage, but then again, at the same time, I believe ReprisaL did a good job of just maintaining a large amount of mana on that a large amount of hit points on that Blood Mage. Alright, Renegade Wizard taking a bit of damage already. Gonna go ahead and fire back there. There it goes. Ring of Protection +2 now picked up. A Footman already out scouting the other side. Both sides having Footmen scouting out their opponent just to make sure that there is relatively low amount of trickery happening in this game. Alright, it looks as though the Rogue Wizard, Apprentice Wizard gets in the final shot to finish it off. And the Peasant will end up starting to build a scout farm right there. Always important on a map like this, just because it is so close for human players, to set up one farm just so you have easy access to a reveal if you need it. Archmage now making his rounds off to the north, and it looks like it will be a very, very slow clearing of this Kobold Taskmaster creep camp. If you guys do not know, it is slow because of the Mud Golems, the Kobold Geomancers. All 4 of those units able to cast slow, and with that, every single unit on the other side is pretty much going to be slowed and making it rather difficult. However, the rewards are great. You are able to clear out a mercenary camp, pick up a Troll Shadow Priest, which is absolutely required in a human mirror match because of those water elementals. Now, I am surprised Yumiko has cleared it out while ReprisaL has yet to do so, and we're going to be looking at the Archmage actually pushing over at level 3. Now, I guess this is another way to get around that Troll Shadow Priest abolish magic, get a higher level water elemental that is much more difficult to abolish. The Troll Shadow Priest already down to 172 mana and going to most likely drop a little bit more as we're taking a look. There is the engagement here. What is going on as we now see a level 2 water elemental up in that front lines? Troll Shadow Priest going to be getting in some easy damage there. There's 1 shot, there is 2 shots, and there goes level 3 already onto the Archmage. That is going to be an extremely big deal. You can see ReprisaL desperately going after this 1 unit down over here, and also the Troll Berserker. However, the Footman will not be able to catch up, and it looks as though ReprisaL able to use a rejuvenation potion, will be able to get some mana and some hit points. A little bit of a lucky break there. Meanwhile, one water elemental may be able to actually finish off. No, not going to be able to finish off that Footman, as Footman does now have defend. Back across over here, low hit point Footman on the run. Archmage going to be coming across. There is no disruption there whatsoever. Low hit point Footman, and it's going to get that extra bit of splash damage to finish off that Footman there, as we still see Footman Water Elemental Wars 2016. All right, Footmen, however, of Yumiko have defend, making those water elementals pretty much inferior unit. The only thing that it can really go after is other water elementals, but I guess that is one way to deal with it, and some beautiful micro there to keep track and make sure that your water elementals are still doing the maximum amount of damage. All right, there's a little bit of pressure there. Meanwhile, the water elemental could try and fight back. We might see some abolish magic there. There's 1, there's 2, there it goes down again as Yumiko gets a little bit more experience onto that Archmage. And will this one, yes, that does get taken out there. 37 damage on the high end. And with no armor, a little bit of armor would have been the difference there, as this 1 water elemental gets surrounded by peasants. Beautifully played, beautifully done. This Footman, considering his options of trying to chase down Yumiko's very low hit point Troll Shadow Priest, decides against it, and very, very well played there. as Yumiko will live to fight another day. Meanwhile, ReprisaL retreating all the way back home. There are only 3 low hit point footmen sitting at 33 over 42 compared to 41 over 48. Yumiko definitely the victor in those early skirmishes. Now, we did see what happened in game number 2, though. And in game number 2, a combination of saving a lot of his footmen and getting that Blood Mage was the key factor in that victory. And we'll see if he'll be able to capture lightning in a bottle and do that once more, as it will be a Blood Mage for the second time. Meanwhile, it looks as though there is no second hero as of yet coming in from Yumiko, as Yumiko may end up getting creep-jacked here into oblivion. You can see how much damage Yumiko is going to take right here. You can take a look. Water Elemental getting taken out here. You can see a lot of damage being pushed forward. The Troll Berserkers in the backfield taking a lot of damage. Siphon mana away, and quickly after that Siphon mana happens, Scroll of Town Portal in order to get away. Tome of Strength +1. Apparently, Archmages and Blood Mages have something against bodybuilding workout. They don't want to bulk up. They like their lean look. Anyways, Blood Mage, Archmage, ready to go. Siphon mana, giving that Archmage significantly more mana once again, as the Blood Mage needs to consider where his options are to get some additional mana. All right, Blood Mage down to 0 mana as the Goblin Zeppelin now up in the air. And that is really the mana battery strategy for that Archmage. Now, normally you wouldn't think an Archmage needs a mana battery, but that's exactly how we're seeing this Blood Mage being used. That Archmage now probably up to about 200 mana, or received over 200 mana from that Blood Mage so far. So that is going to be 2 to 3 Water Elementals, as we now see the drop already coming into play. All right, there you go, Archmage. Going to drop another Water Elemental right there. And if it is able to disrupt all of these Arcane Towers, that will be a huge blow dealt, as Yumiko may end up losing this Arcane Tower as well. Mountain King trying to get a Stormbolt off. It does get a Stormbolt off, but it gets it onto the footman as opposed to the Blood Mage, as a lot of mana was lost. More Water Elementals being dropped down, and this is really the problem. Water Elemental after Water Elemental after Water Elemental. That one priest is going to get picked off here, but another Water Elemental could be dropped down in just a moment. The fight is going to be very tight, though. Water Elemental now picked up. Goblin Zeppelin down to 191 hit points. But what is more critical is the lost time. Those Arcane Vaults are going to be significantly behind. You can see the Arcane Vaults of ReprisaL already training up some Spellbreakers. There's a reveal to check, and Yumiko knows that he is in a bit of hurt. Yumiko losing that scouting farm there, as well as the Goblin Zeppelin going to perhaps be flying back down. However, there is one Zeppelin right there, and it is going to be spotted. This is going to be dangerous. Oh my goodness. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. The Zeppelin destroyed over trees. Archmage falls. The remaining units are going to die. Yumiko catching one of the biggest breaks I have ever seen, as both heroes and the remaining units taken out. Archmage of Yumiko now at level 5. I cannot stress this enough. A huge comeback by Yumiko. He was so far behind, not having the tech, not having, being forced to spend so much gold on mercenary camp units in order to make up. And now he has caught one of the biggest breaks that you can ever have in Warcraft 3. A human player not being careful with a Goblin Zeppelin, and now ReprisaL contemplating what he could possibly do to get back into this game, being forced to resurrect at the tavern, knowing that you cannot let this stand alone for very long. All right, there is a quick dispel magic. Lightning shield would have eaten through those poor militia far too quickly. ReprisaL now with Boots of Quoth the Lost may likely sell that. We could see some arcane and guard towers here, and perhaps even setting up an expansion. ReprisaL needs to figure out how this game is going to be going long, and that is how quickly a game of Warcraft 3 can change. Monstrous change right there. Archmage at level 5. And mass teleport may even be an issue now if Yumiko is able to make something of it. One water elemental here, some peasants down over here as well. Archmage now dropped over. Spellbreakers all see all this action coming into play. There's a quick banish, as you can now have, well, one poor water elemental. I'm still curious as to why the water elemental wasn't picked up by the goblin Zeppelin. It should be able to, and there it goes, now finally picked up. We should see perhaps some repairing. The arcane towers are going to be done now, and with that, the arcane tower and the water elementals are just going to fight it out. Arcane tower is getting a bit of an advantage there. All right, Archmage sitting at level 5. Another side effect is that the Mountain King is now being able to creep by himself, and he is already sitting at level 3. Level 3, if he can even get to level 5, that is going to be that much more dangerous, as the Archmage bringing over 2 water elementals to try and take down this expansion. Now, bringing water elementals and an archmage into a double arcane tower expansion, not the best of ideas, as Yumiko quickly finds out there's not much he can really do. All right, Yumiko does have lightning shield on a footman. He's going to be able to defend with that footman right there. Quick dispel magic, however. The footman should really be defending. Not quite sure why he isn't. Yumiko is just sitting in a sea of units there. Meanwhile, Stormbolt and a bash dispel magic. ReprisaL may end up losing the archmage. No, forcing a scroll of town portal. Scroll of militia now being called back over. One footman. Does he have the fence? Scroll of town portal back off to the north, and ReprisaL banishing his own archmage again. Where is the dispel magic? Is it going to be happening? Siphon mana away. Mountain King now out, and we see a lightning shield. There is a Stormbolt onto the archmage. ReprisaL loses the archmage for a second time. This time legitimately, as we see the Mountain King here getting surrounded. Nothing like a Mountain King with lightning shield surrounded by spellbreakers, trying to stop the surround. Not going to quite work though, as Yumiko now in a bit of a run to try and get away. Archmage down over here, losing all of his mana so far. ReprisaL doing a good job, and everyone is going to come away from this fight all bloody and wounded. All right, siphon mana into ReprisaL. ReprisaL now, what is that? Staff of teleportation. Archmage now going to be teleporting away. There they go, as the Archmage is once more going to be resurrected. ReprisaL sitting at 49 over 66. He did hold on to his expansion, and there is something in that. Yumiko, however, has an expansion of his own, and now upgrading the castle, possibly getting mortar teams as well. Mortar teams with fragmentation shards do pretty much counter priest and spellbreakers. Fragmentation shards increasing that the splash damage of those mortar teams as well, and we can also perhaps see some knights being used. All right, yes, animal war train now being researched. Knights are on the horizon. A second workshop being thrown down. Mountain King now going to be brought over here to the right, and wow, ReprisaL setting up a second barracks, perhaps knowing that this is going to be going into some knights as well. There is the upgrade to castle. Mountain King now looking to engage. Archmage is being resurrected. If there was mortar teams, that would have been enough to finish off the Altar of Kings before the Archmage was able to rejoin in on the fight. Beautiful Stormbolt. ReprisaL now, Ethereal Form. There is the spell magic. Why waste the spell magic? Just attack with the priest. They are going to be dealing double damage, 3 shots, and it is over, rather than wasting your mana. Anyways, let's go ahead. Archmage now joins in on the fight. Mountain King gets a big Stormbolt in, as the Archmage is looking to go into a bit of a run. All right, Ethereal Form now back in. Mountain King getting Siphon mana once more. Siphon mana going to be a big deal. Stormbolt. Oh, Potion of Invulnerability just as the Mountain King throws it. So pretty much blocking 70 or taking 75 mana away from his opponent, forcing the cooldown again, as the Mountain King now very low on mana. Another 2 Siphon manas and it will be out, or a Stormbolt and a Siphon mana, anything of those combinations here. All right, you can take a look. Knights are being trained. Animal war training, no animal war training. Paladin, the human tri-hero, now underway, as Yumiko looking to clear up this creep camp here. Mountain King is going to be getting, or already at level 4, Robe of Magi, a very big deal as his mana jumps to 390. 390, that is, what is that, 4, 5 storm bolts, possibly 6, maybe 7 continuous storm bolts, depending on how much or how long that Mountain King stays close to that Archmage. An additional, I believe it's 1.5 mana to 2 mana a second for that Mountain King, and with all those cooldowns, it might actually be just exactly that. Apparently, Mountain Kings do like to read books and will be bulking up a bit, being able to take a little bit more damage. All right, Paladin now joining in on the fight. Blood Mage is right there. We have a 4-2-1 combination compared to a 5 and a 4. Do we see a Paladin as the third hero? Yes, we do. So it is going to be the classic human tri-hero versus the Frozen Throne variety with a Blood Mage instead of a Mountain King. Archmage now looking to make a play back down across over here. Water Elementals are in play here. Well, Inner Fire was researched, and that, my friends, is perhaps one of the biggest gambles you can have, especially if your opponent has Spellbreakers. Why risk giving it to your opponent, as the Spellbreakers will be able to steal that Inner Fire, giving mana back, and you don't have that many Spellbreakers of your own because you transitioned into Knights. Why give your opponent that advantage if Yumiko ends up losing this game? Inner Fire steal may have a very, very big impact, as we're looking at both sides sitting at relatively large armies, both of them upwards into the mid or high 70s, as they are just trying to avoid high upkeep right now. Archmage sitting at level 5, ready to go. There's some transferring of items. Staff of Sanctuary onto the Archmage. Gauntlets of Ogre Strength. Apparently, the human tri-hero likes to accessorize. Are they going to pick up a Potion of Lesser Invulnerability? No. Scroll of Healing. So this is going to be very interesting. Now we see a couple of flares being launched as well. I don't know where that flare is. Also, we see an Arcane Vault off over here. Plenty of lumber to use, as ReprisaL now getting into, I believe, 80 is going to be 84 supply max. It looks like, yeah, it will be 84 supply max. Meanwhile, Yumiko's sitting at 79 over 90, as a Goblin Zeppelin is feigning pressure because there is absolutely no one inside. A second set of guard towers now being placed down. Arcane Sentry has been researched, meaning there is not going to be any invisible unit play either. You can see that the mortar teams with that +5 armor, +7 damage. It's a 15% damage bonus with a +5 armor, which is equivalent to additional 30% effective hit points. Watch my videos if you guys do not know what I'm talking about. But yes, each point of armor effectively gives you 6% effective hit points. So if you have 1,000 hit points, you effectively are able to take 60 points of damage more before you die. Let's go ahead and take a look back over here. Mortar team's going to go ahead and finish off that Arcane Vault very quickly. Mortar teams, 4 of them, just absolutely demolishing things in a second, as we see another one now taken out. All right. Now, however, battle lines have been drawn. ReprisaL in a little bit of a better spot. Blizzard now being retrained, so all those units walking through Blizzard, as the Archmage really needs to stop there. All right, Staff of Sanctuary, bringing that back around. And without Stormbolt, it is very difficult to really make Yumiko pay for any sort of running. Arcane Vault now being reestablished down over here. Arcane Vault, or this expansion, no one has yet taken. Goblin Zeppelin seems to be on patrol, as the units are now going to be fighting again. All right, there's a little bit of lob and attack. ReprisaL does have that all-important armor, +5 armor, so 10 armor on the Knights. As you can see, Blizzard now just being brought down, raining down, or I guess, would you say blizzarding down? And as the Flame Strike also being used, Archmage gets Stormbolted. However, Flame Strike also being thrown down as well. So another round of Blizzard being brought over, as the Mountain King is constantly running out of mana. There's a Stormbolt. However, ReprisaL needs to make for a very, very, very quick escape here. He's taking a lot of damage. Potion of Lesser Invulnerability ability. Now in the back, in the run once more. Paladin may wholly lighting this Archmage here in just a moment. There's the Blizzard. As you can see, so much damage has been added across multiple units. That front line taking a lot of damage here as the Blood Mage unable to, he might be able to get off another, Paladin gets picked off there in a bit of a run, and a Spellbreaker looks like it will get taken out as well. Stormbolt, Reprisal now trying to stay alive, making or moving away from that Mountain King. Mountain King, however, was going to finish it off, and Yumiko takes game number 3 with an epic win there. But I think Reprisal, if he didn't make that catastrophic mistake in the first half of the game, really played the better game. But Yumiko, with that experience advantage, just far too much. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. Hope you guys enjoyed game number 2 or game number 3 in this 2-game set. Hope to see you guys on Battle.net.